someone made a remark about my 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates vintage engineer cap. So I'm not wearing it right now, but there's going to be a whole post on that. Because if you want to say you don't know anything about Pittsburgh sports without saying you don't know anything about Pittsburgh sports, you criticize that 1979 vintage baseball cap. Anyway, not the topic. Not now. The topic right now, and this has come up because I caught some flack for making some remarks about Tomlin simply doing the obvious in starting Russ Wilson. And why would I have to take that as an opportunity to criticize Tomlin? So 16 years ago, here's why. 16 years ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers won one of the most exciting Super Bowls anyone's ever going to see. Right down to the last few seconds, right down to the absolutely most amazing, sorry helmet catch guy, David Tyree, the absolute most amazing Super Bowl catch for a touchdown was Santonio Holmes in a corner of that end zone with the toe tap. Nothing compares. Nothing compares. And that game was neck and neck, super exciting. As usual, Roethlisberger put the offense to bed in the second half. A quarterback who was never really capable of playing two solid halves of football. But we won. And, following that 2008 season, man, I was front and center on that Mike Tomlin bus. I sure was, man. I like the energy he brought to the team. I like the fact that he was willing to discipline the vets. I like the fact that he presented a very, very stern aura. Not so much the emotive, effusive Bill Cowher style, but a little closer to the Chuck Noll style of fewer words, bigger deeds. And man, I thought, this is great, man. We're in for a heck of a great ride. And, of course, we followed up with the dog of a season the next year. And, of course, Ben Roethlisberger did everything he could to torpedo the team with his activities in Georgia. And then, of course, we start 2010 with Charlie Batch. And who knew? Right? Who knew? But somehow we pulled out 12-4, and we went all the way, albeit with some help against the Jets. And who cares? We got there. And frankly, the game was way too big for two guys. And it was way too big for Ben Roethlisberger. His character had been revealed, and there weren't going to be any more last-second comebacks. Roethlisberger got that ball back with 1:47 and every opportunity to win the game and couldn't produce a single first down. And Tomlin, who is in charge of getting the team ready to play and getting Roethlisberger's emotions in check and having the team show up, he put a team out there that was down 2 touchdowns before you could blink. And since then, Mike Tomlin is 5-9 in the playoffs. Now, a lot of folks are going to want to talk about his .600 regular season record since then, 130 versus 78. That's one heck of a regular season record. And you can add to that the fact that he hasn't had a losing season. Those are outstanding when you consider the time and tide the coaches face in the NFL. Outstanding achievements in the regular season. But I grew up in the 1970s, and I saw Chuck Noll coached teams who did their best work in January. And I see Mike Tomlin teams that do their best work in November, December. I grew up expecting to win Super Bowls. I didn't think we could ever lose one. And Mike Tomlin started a trend with the washout versus the Packers, where Aaron Rodgers literally just diced Tomlin's vaunted defense. And we were never really in the game. And since then, we've never really been in the playoffs. Mike Tomlin's career postseason record is 8-10. He's lost a wild card game in 2011, 2014, 2021, and 2023. He has divisional round losses in 2015 and 2017. He has an AFCC loss in 2016. And let's be honest about that AFCC against the Patriots. We weren't in that game from the kickoff. And Tomlin white flagged it by the middle of the second quarter. I guess also because his quarterback gave up in the middle of second quarter. He knew, Ben Roethlisberger knew that later on he would remind people how he won a Super Bowl 8 years ago. Mike Tomlin's last playoff win is 8 years ago. The game before the Patriots. Mike Tomlin won one single Super Bowl after having inherited a wealth of riches. A Super Bowl level team who just won a Super Bowl a couple years before. Full of defensive veterans at the very top of the NFL. Try to check me on that one. It's just a fact. A team with exceptional assistant coaches, a defensive philosophy, an offensive philosophy, and really good special teams. And then those folks started to retire, started to go away. James Harrison lost some of his effectiveness. LaMarr Woodley ate his way out of the NFL. Casey Hampton also ate his way out of the NFL. Well, Casey got old. Lawrence Timmons, Ryan Clark, Troy Polamalu all started to age out, essentially. And it became time for the team to be built by Tomlin. And it came time for the coaches to be chosen by Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin gave you, when he wasn't forced to hire Todd Haley and Brian Flores, gave you guys like Keith Butler and Matt Canada. Oh, and did I mention Randy Fichtner? And by the way, Butler and Fichtner were on Tomlin's coaching staff in Arkansas State. Since that Super Bowl level team aged out, Mike Tomlin has not replaced them with the same caliber of players. He plays slugs like Dan Moore and refuses to give a legitimate shot to guys like Broderick Jones. He's got Patrick Queen out there running around, doesn't appear to know what he's doing. He's got a bunch of rum-dums like Larry Ogunjobi and Montravius Adams on the front line. His personnel selections are anybody's guess, and what he's done with the offensive line and the whole thing after letting Mike Munchak walk out the door is disgraceful. So you're going to have to pardon me. You're going to have to pardon me for not being a big Mike Tomlin believer anymore. I think Mike Tomlin had his day. He caught lightning in a bottle, and ever since then has been a very good regular season coach and a playoff disaster. So I wish you'd all stop talking about him like he's Vince Lombardi or Chuck Noll or Bill Walsh.